Alright, hell yeah. So we have 8 minutes of footage on this middle wave, and I'm just going to do a voiceover because I've been using a technique just this year, just honestly just this month on this wave. So this wave is highly slanted towards the camera, and where the boat is kind of tending to right now, it just actually wants to exit you. It's really difficult even just to straight surf or stay on this wave. I can straight surf, I'm just going to be lower in that trough. So this was kind of the first time to actually do dynamic moves. And the move that we kind of excelled at, which was, kind of totally brand new to me, was getting onto that pile and then switching in position. So I'm on my strong side, but I'm facing backwards, and I'm just back paddling. And so because that's my strong side, the back paddle is very strong. And then I also talked about how that gets me to the back of the boat, and as that's planing across, that's, the back of the boat becomes the new bow. And so it's a move that I do often. So like right here, I'm going to drive across, and when I do this spin, now I'm fairly close to that far side of that wave. And if I wanted to, I could just easily exit out that far side using this backward paddle technique. It just edges the boat so well, and I think there's a couple things going on. Well, always, if it's your strong side, it's, no doubt going to be more, precise, surgical. But other things that I talked about, the back of the boat, the stern of the boat's the new bow, and so that is wading into the trough, and that's able to create that drive. And then also the sweep strokes from that backward position are just so much better, because I tried to do this on my right side and try to get into the same position, try to load the bow and make these paddle strokes. Yeah, so even just reviewing my footage here, it makes me get on top of the wave too much, and I'm not able to, kind of feel that sweet spot to dig in. So being in that reverse position, it really feels like I can get down into the trough. So this is my right side. This is also a great wave to practice catches. That catch was probably awful. You know what I mean? I knew I could just kind of hit it sideways and then turn around. And so this is a really good wave to practice offside catches. Hell yeah. Because if it is my offside and I really want to practice that, I really want to practice, catching and being square lengthwise to the wave. Hell yeah. Yeah, so get into that rear position, and I'm able to cross just a little bit. I mean, even in that backwards position, it's difficult to travel all the way across. That one seemed to travel way farther across. But then the other element of this is just kind of, getting pieced out in an R1 boat. They're so rounded. Sometimes they carry too much current, too much drag, and so you can get kicked out pretty easily. Hell yeah. And I think like right here we're trying to get more dynamic. So actually, jumping down into the trough and then jumping up to the pile. Like I can even notice that or sense that. And so that's my tip to other R1 surfing, is to get more dynamic. There is an in and out. The trough has a low spot, the wave has a high spot. And so the fact that you can, it's just like, similar to skateboarding, but maybe opposite. Skateboarding, you want to get to the tallest part of the ramp to do your spin or trick or whatever. I have found that in rafting, you want to get to the low spot. So you're surfing the wave, driving down into the trough, and then executing your spin. So using that momentum. I see a lot of, kind of like what happens is that people new to surfing, they'll kind of just surf in a static position, and that is kind of fairly high up against the trough, and then you'll start to spin, and you're getting too much drag, and so you'll just get drug off the wave. Where if you're on top of the wave, to be able to kind of like paddle in, and so a lot of R1 rafting, I'll make other tutorials. So even like right there, like I'm on that that tube, and that tube's driving into the trough. And so I coin a term just like a low side turn. So if I am going to turn down into the wave, like right there, that tube is the low side tube. Any tube that like bites, and it's very fascinating how you can actually drive down the trough so well onto those tubes. They do bite, but those can initiate spins. So the fact that you do have a tube driving down into the trough, now you are low into the trough. Maybe your tube bites, and you can use that bite to generate a spin. The spin's going to take place low in the trough, and so that's kind of one aspect. Here today, though, I'm also trying to get dynamic where I go low into the trough, but then pop out high. So like do this, and then get up on top of that wave, and then to just be more spatially aware of that. Like if I am driving low into the trough and then surfing back up onto the pile, I can use that to spin the boat. And so, hell yeah. And so again, that's like a down the trough and up against the pile instead of just like a static. Like right there, that was just kind of like, kind of a static pull current, and then you get pieced out. Hell yeah. And then it's just kind of knowing like how sticky that pile is. Like, cause like right there, I'm pretty high up onto that pile, but I know it's sticky and it's gonna spin me around. And so that's just kind of for practice from just like, muscle, whatever I'm trying to say. But over on that corner, it isn't very sticky and I can easily get pieced out. So just kind of knowing that building that intuition. Hell yeah, but it's kind of cool the fact that I can get over to that corner. But yeah, this wave heavily spins like right here. Now, here's the other aspect. This is straight surfing. I want to get to the right side. I need to pry on the left. I almost need to, because if I sit on that right tube, I'm just going to spin out because the wave is so, I'm going to potentially try to surf over there on the right side, but it's going to make the boat go sideways. And so I definitely need to pry on that side, on that left side. That's the side that you saw. And but that's the low side tube. And I think with an R1 redesign, you should be able to pry on that side and then drive across as well. Like I just kind of feel locked in at the bottom of that trough on that. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me. Booyah. All right, we're going to look at the C1 athlete, and they have their strong side on their left side. What we're going to look at is that this hole is going to center the athletes over here, and to get to this corner with a strong left side, C1er, doing these backward paddle strokes is kind of up against the face of the wave is getting them to that corner. And so all the other right paddle C1ers, they were able to just kind of surf over there. But this is the technique that I'm using in my R1 raft, and maybe it's just because my strong side is my left, and even if I'm on my right side, it's very difficult to get over there. The other aspect, though, is that when I am facing backwards on my left side and doing backward paddle strokes over on the left, I'm more lower in the trough since R1 boats you're kind of sitting towards the back. So let's take a look at all the main wave footage. Hell yeah.